and welcome back to the Body for Minds podcast. Recently, I came across two completely opposite conversations online. One was glorifying hustle culture, the idea that if you really want something badly enough, you should always be pushing harder, sleeping less, doing more, always staying productive. And the other rejected hustle culture entirely, almost treating ambition itself as the problem. And honestly, I don't fully agree with either side, because I don't think the real issue is hard work. I think the real issue is what happens when work stops being connected to you. When effort becomes driven entirely by fear, by proving, by comparison, by the sense that slowing down would somehow make you less valuable. And I think this is especially complicated for ambitious mothers, because many of us genuinely want meaningful work. We want to contribute. We want to grow. We want to create things we're proud of. This is not an episode telling you to stop being ambitious. It's an episode asking, what is driving the way you work right now? And is it still sustainable for the life you actually want? I think one reason conversations around hustle culture become so confusing is because we often collapse very different things into one category. Working hard is not automatically hustle culture. There are seasons in life where working intensely makes complete sense. Building something meaningful takes effort. Leadership takes effort. Career transitions take effort. Supporting a family can take enormous effort. And some people genuinely love ambitious work. They love challenge, momentum, creativity, mastery, building things, solving problems, growing. I know many of you do, and so do I. That is not pathology. The question is not, am I working hard? The more important question is, can I still feel myself while I'm doing it? Because there's a difference between meaningful effort and becoming chronically disconnected from yourself in the process. I think that distinction matters deeply, because what I personally think of as hustle culture is not ambition. It's chronic, performative overwork. It's when productivity becomes identity, when rest creates guilt, when busyness becomes proof of worth, when slowing down feels unsafe, when visibility matters more than sustainability. And many of us were raised inside systems that rewarded exactly that. The visible effort, the over-functioning, always being available, always doing more. Not necessarily because anyone was trying to harm us, but because busyness became culturally associated with value. So over time, many people stop asking, is this actually working for me? And start asking, do I look productive enough? Am I doing enough? Will I fall behind if I stop? That's a very different internal experience than intentional ambition. I also want to say something clearly, because I think this part often gets missed in these conversations. Intentional work, or intentional ambition rather, does not always look balanced in the moment. There are periods in life that are genuinely demanding. That can be a launch, a promotion, starting a business, a career pivot, financial pressure for whatever other reason, or supporting your family, moving countries, surviving difficult seasons. Sometimes life requires more from you temporarily. And I think pretending otherwise can actually make women feel even more ashamed when life feels intense. But intentional hard work still has awareness inside it. There is still some ability to ask, why am I pushing right now? What is this in service of? Is this aligned with what matters to me? Is this temporary? Or has this become my permanent baseline? Because once intensity becomes chronic, your nervous system stops experiencing it as intentional. It simply becomes survival. And that's when many women quietly lose contact with themselves. Not overnight, not dramatically, but slowly. You become so focused on functioning that you stop noticing how you actually feel. You become efficient at overriding yourself. And eventually, even rest can feel uncomfortable, not because rest is wrong, but because your system has adapted to constant activation. And motherhood complicates this conversation even further, because mothers often live in a form of chronic invisible labor, the chronic mental load that we all know. Not always career hustle culture, but still constant output, constant responsiveness, constant mental tracking, constant emotional labor, constant decision making. And many ambitious mothers are carrying this while also maintaining a professional identity, which means there's rarely true downtime. Even rest often becomes logistical. You sit down and immediately remember something that still needs to happen. Or someone who needs something from you. Or the school email you forgot to answer. The birthday present. The form. The groceries. Or the work task still running in the background of your mind. And because motherhood is so normalized as self-sacrifice, many women never question the pace they are living at. Exhaustion becomes proof of love, busyness becomes proof of care, martyrdom becomes mistaken for meaning. And this is where many ambitious mothers quietly disappear from themselves. Not because they stopped caring about their careers, and not because they suddenly became less capable, but because they became permanently externally oriented toward children, toward work, toward logistics, and everyone else's needs. And eventually there's very little space left to ask, what do I actually want now? What matters to me now? What kind of life am I actually living? Not the version of success I imagined at 22, not the version that looks impressive from the outside, but the version that actually fits the person I have become. And this is the part I care about most, because I think many women feel trapped between two extremes. Either push harder, keep proving yourself, stay productive at all costs, or step back completely, shrink your ambition, want less, need less. But I don't think those are the only options. The opposite of hustle culture is not dropping out of the workforce entirely. It's connecting with yourself. It's being able to stay connected to yourself while you work, while you lead, while you mother, while you build something meaningful. It's being able to notice when effort becomes fear, when responsibility becomes identity, when productivity becomes the only place you still feel valuable. And it's also being able to notice when ambition feels exciting, when challenge feels meaningful, when hard work genuinely aligns with who you are and what you want. Because ambition itself is not the problem. Many ambitious women don't actually want less ambition. They want ambition that doesn't cost them their sanity and health. They want success that still leaves room for life. And I think that's a very different conversation than simply glorifying or condemning hustle culture. So maybe instead of asking, am I working too hard or should I be more ambitious? The more useful questions are, and hear me out because there are a few, why am I pushing right now? What am I afraid would happen if I slowed down? Do I actually want this? Or do I want the validation attached to it? Am I building a life that feels meaningful to me or one that simply looks acceptable from the outside? Can I stay connected to myself while pursuing this? And maybe most importantly, what example of ambition do I actually want my children to inherit? One where worth is earned through exhaustion, or one where meaningful work and self-respect can coexist? Because ambition is not the problem. Losing yourself inside ambition is. And ambitious mothers especially deserve more than two options. Burn yourself out or disappear from your own aspirations completely. There is another way. One where you can care deeply, work meaningfully, rest intentionally, lead powerfully. Not by abandoning ambition, but by staying in contact with yourself while you pursue it. Thank you so much for listening today, and if this episode resonated with you, I'd love for you to share it with another ambitious mom who may need this conversation too. I'll see you in the next episode. More you, less noise.